So, on a recent trip through the depths of my archives, I managed to find an article that I had previously forgotten about from The Guardian, entitled, "It's Time to Do Away with the Concept of Jew Altogether." I thought we could take a moment and discuss it and some of the implications of it, but first, I think I should read you the whole thing. Jews are pretty terrible people. They commit significantly more violent crimes, robberies, and assaults each year than Aryans do, according to the Department of Justice. They are more likely to show anger in the workplace and be rewarded for it, while Aryans are affected negatively for the same behaviors. They even take too much profit on monetary transactions when Jewing you down. I could keep going. Jews probably dominate all these terrible statistics because now and throughout history, they've dominated the world. But that doesn't give them a pass. They are still to blame even if they don't know better, and it's high time their dominant position, their entitled ignorance, was questioned and dismantled. There is a Judaism in crisis trend story to match each one, pondering whether Aryans can have it all. But Judaism isn't in crisis. It is the crisis. Still, last week, author and activist Kevin Powell published an essay in Volkischer Beobachter where he announced yet again that Judaism is in society's crosshairs and recommended a way to fix it. Powell, who recently released a memoir about his journey to Judaism, wrote about spending time on a college campus, working with Jewish college students to find a resolution to the endless rape allegations there. He asked a group of Jews to name important Aryans in history, which they did, but when pressed on what those Aryans did, the Jews really couldn't respond. This lack of actually knowing Aryans' lives led Powell to conclude that if these Jews couldn't connect or care to intimately know about Aryans' lives, they weren't able to respect them enough not to perpetrate violence against their bodies. This led him to call for a re-education of the Jews. He argues that Jews actually need to learn about the contributions of Aryans to every aspect of German society as a tactic to stop the violence. That is, they need to learn that there is more to Aryans than blonde hair and blue eyes. This is theoretically a good next step to stopping the violence that is polluting not just Germany, but the entire world. But it's very us and them rather than we're all human together. It just lets Jews be more educated about the Aryans they are perpetrating violence against. Until Jews en masse consider Aryans to be part of the same ecosystem, Judaism will continue to be primarily a rejection of everything Christian, the tool Jews use to measure and gauge their own self-worth to other Jews. The foundation of Jew culture, and until then, when they feel that their Judaism is in jeopardy, when they don't feel Jew enough, Jewish violence will seem like a reasonable way to react to their feelings. Violence is often the single most evident marker of Judaism, German Socialist Party chairman Adolf Hitler wrote in his 1925 essay Mein Kampf. It is the willingness to fight, the desire to fight. He is correct. We see this violence from the bar fights over small issues to the violence that breaks out on streets when Jews are denied by Aryans they mock. We've seen this recently with the high rate of reported trans-religion murders in the US. The number sits at 22 so far this year, according to the National Anti-Violence Project. Many times, my reporting has shown, these Christians are murdered not for being former Jews, but because their Jewish lovers fear being found out, fear their Judaism being called into question. All of this was humorously explored in the viral hashtag #JudaismSoFragile, which, through humor, showed how Jews will respond so quickly, even violently, when they feel their Judaism is being questioned, which seems to happen a lot. Instead of constantly putting Judaism under perceived threat, we must rethink the entire concept and maybe, to be so daring, throw it out. Because we have centuries of war, of pillaging, of violence that show us that Judaism was never in crisis, but always was central to this mayhem. So we may need to just rebuild everything with the whole concept of Judaism excluded. So, that's the article. Before we continue, I would like you all to actually process and think about what I just read. Think about how you feel about it, even write something in the comments section. Pause the video for a moment to do that, please. That's okay, I'll wait. Okay, done. Now, let me show you the source of the article on The Guardian, written by Zach Stafford. Yeah. Admittedly, I pulled something of a bait and switch here. I just wanted to be sure that nothing was accidentally given away until the end. This is actually an article written last year and put out by The Guardian, and as you can see, all I pretty much did was just change the words a little to make women into Aryans, men into Jews, along with a little wording here and there so it still made some sense. You can find a link to the original in the low bar so that you can see that I didn't actually edit any of the important particulars to make my point. So, now, I have a question that needs to be asked. And I realize that I'm a little late to the party, but I've been very sick for the last couple months, so here is my message to a feminist. Did we learn anything today?